Hey everyone, today's video is basically going to break down when you spend more money, do you get more stuff? Okay, or do you get better stuff? Okay, so I'm going to be using two brands to do this comparison, the Asus and the MSI. I would do the Gigabyte, but the WindForce, I'm not buying that trash, and the Gaming OC and the Aorus Master is the exact same card with a different shroud, and one has a screen. Same PCB, same power limit, just a different cover and a screen. I don't believe there's anything to really compare then. The Extreme on the Aorus side, just a piece of trash on an AIO. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna quickly go over each one of these. All right, so let's start with the Tough. This is a 4090 Tough, non-OC. Okay, so this is $1,600. I've said it time and time again. This is the exact same card as the OC version, except for the OC version has a slight 50 or something like that bump, which on boost clock makes no difference. Okay, because NVIDIA Boost will boost it to about the same anyway. This is a Trio, okay, the base Trio. This comes in at $1,600, I believe. It might be $1,625, something like that. And moving on, we have the Suprim. Okay, this is the Suprim X. I didn't realize there was a non-overclocking version to it when I looked it up, but apparently there is. Okay, and this is the most expensive one out of them all. Oh, this one comes in about $1,750. Okay, the most expensive one here at $2,000 with a $100 premium for the white, which is insane, is the 4090 OC Strix. Okay, real quick rundown of each cooler, starting with the Tough. The Tough has the same fans as the Strix. Okay, you get a vapor chamber design. All right, that is 3 slot, but the I/O bracket is 2. This helps if you have an older vertical mounting GPU bracket. You don't need to get a new one that supports 3. Same goes for the Strix. Okay, the Trio is a non-vapor chamber design with 8 heat pipes. All right, you know what? Let me skip back. 600 watt power limit. All right, same as the Founders. 480 watt power limit. Really stupid, but it is what it is. And this card is also 3 slot with the 3 slot bracket. It's actually 3.5 with the shroud. Actually, you know what? I think the Asus, yeah, the Asus is just 3. I would say 3.5 just to be safe. Okay, so you'll notice that here's the Suprim. It has different fans, a little bit of different fans in the Trio. Okay, also the Trio is a lot of plastic. The back is metal, but the complete shroud is plastic. With the Suprim, you get pure metal, but you do have touches of plastic like over here. Okay, but this is a vapor chamber design, and as you can see right away, there's a lot more heatsink there. Okay, so this is kind of where the money comes in. So this being $150 more than this, you know, you get these upgrades in the cooler, you get the upgrade on the shroud, and the backplate is more fancy, right? So there's that, and let's get to the bad boy here. This is the Strix. As you can see, it also has a vapor chamber design, but you'll notice that it's very comparable in terms of surface area to the Suprim. Okay, it is a bit longer than the Suprim. The Strix is an all-metal design, similar to the Tough. All right, the Tough is also an all-metal design, and the power limit on this is 600. And in case I forgot to mention it, the power limit on this card is 520, which is stupid, but it is what it is. So, in terms of power delivery, when we're on power limit, this is a 24 phase plus 4. This is a 26 phase plus 4. This is an 18 phase plus 4. And this is an 18 phase plus 4. All right. So with that said, we're going to do 2 things. Well, first, we're going to look at their base stock performance in Unigine, Time Spy Extreme, and Cyberpunk. I didn't go through a whole slew of them because we're just looking at them relatively compared to each other, right? Not compared to other GPUs. Then I did a manual OC on all of them. For those that are not comfortable, you can use OC Scanner, but OC Scanners tend to not be very aggressive. All right, so I did a manual OC on all of them. and then I ran them through the same benchmarks, and then I ran them through Kombuster, MSI Kombuster, to give you an idea how the temps get, how loud the fans get, etc. Speaking of fans, I did notice one thing. On the Suprim, when you have this in the gaming mode, the fan does not like to go over 45%. It would rather let the GPU get extremely hot, well into the 70s. That's not really hot, but well into the 70s, then spin up the fan. So I did run a separate test where I set the manual fan to 60% on this, which is not loud at all, just to kind of give you guys an idea of its potential fan performance. I hope MSI addresses that issue, because on silent mode, it doesn't even go above 30. Like, you can't hear it, and it just goes all the way up to like pretty warm. All right. So with that said, let's get to the numbers. Okay, guys, these charts will show you the overclock difference. It would also show you the frames rendered difference and the average frame cost in Cyberpunk. So pay attention to that, and then after the slides pass, I'll have the clips of each card running with Kombuster and the decibel meter at the same distance to the GPU over the course of 5 minutes. And if you look in GPU Z, you will see the max fan percentage, etc. So on this run, it says the 60% fan, simply to make it more in line with the other cards, that would go up to 40, 50, 60 even. The Suprim does have the best air cooler out of all of them. I've tested them all at 100%, 80%. The Suprim and the Strix are extremely close, but the Suprim does have a couple degrees on it. Now, in terms of overall card performance, you'll probably have noticed they're pretty much the same. So when you spend the extra money, you might be getting a mouse pad, but they all have GPU holders. A lot of it's just come down to looks and componentry on the PCB that doesn't actually affect your performance. Even if you're overclocking on water, the additional phases bring nothing to you. Something like the PNY, which has the most basic bare bone PCB, it still performs in line with these four. So, as I've always said, save your money, buy the cheapest model, buy for the performance, not for the self-upsell.